Have you talked about these numbers directly with Jim Valley?
Yes.
And what is he saying?
Share it with the world.
Share it with the world.
Mm-hmm. We can't wait. Go ahead, reveal it. So what's happening tonight, which is going to be however many days, after this gets presented. So at 11:59 and 59 seconds on January 22nd, 2023, I will reveal my full report. And it will have every assumption listed. It will have everything that was considered. It will break down the math, just as we did just now. But here's the point. We know what that value is. It's absolute. And my understanding is they know it too.
This guy is a dynamo. XLM, XDC. What kind of role do you see XLM? Does God talk to you about XLM or XDC at all?
No,
I need to know.
Not at all.
But they are playing a role. They're going to play something of significance in this transference of wealth.
Yes. I mean, we know.
But before we get started, folks, make sure you hit the pause button. Okay, go down below. There's a Rumble link. Go over to Rumble and follow us over there. QFS1776.com is, without question, the holy grail of what's to come. Okay, T-shirts. You got to get yourself decorated. This way people will ask you, what is XRP? What is the quantum financial system? What is this? What is that? And you send them where? To QFS1776.com, where they need to immerse themselves, because we're going to burn down this system down to the ground. And out of the ashes will rise the phoenix. There will be nothing to go back to. Believe me when I tell you that. Unified TV will take over Netflix. We're bringing in the next genre of movie producers and storytellers and actors and actresses. And we're telling the story of how the world is going to be on earth as it is in heaven. Jassara Nasara is coming. Don't make no mistake about it. Gold and silver, right down below. Promo code Mel Carmine. Make sure you use the promo code. Almost $8 billion in sales. We're direct to like a bunch of mints. We are the ones that can get you the gold and silver directly to your door, okay, at the cheapest price. Don't even waste your time looking for a cheaper price. It doesn't exist. Also, our Telegram groups down below. If you want to learn what's coming and you're sort of a little scared, I understand. Believe me, I was there too at one point. Our Patriots are literally waiting for you in the room. And if you need more than $10,000 worth of XRP or $1 million worth of XRP, you come see me. Send me an email at QFS1776@gmail, and we'll get you as much as you want. Well, good evening, folks. We got the lion out of the cage. He's back because we got some breaking news. He's actually working right side by side with Val Hill Capital, with Jim, the confidential committee, and he's also working with the evaluation subcommittee, okay? And from what we understand, this is mathematics. This is a very, very basic math. It's pluses and minus, divisions and multiplications. It's not, algebra or calculus, nothing like that. Very basic stuff. Math is like a pregnant woman. You're either pregnant or you ain't pregnant. You can't be almost pregnant, okay? And because, Jim from Val Hill Capital, I start to understand, because he's had the other day, he had the map guys map behind them that connects 99 dots about Jassara Nasara and the quantum financial system and the computers and the satellites and Space Force and Trump and all of it. What the hell is he doing with that map behind them unless he knows all about Jassara Nasara? Yes, we believe he does. He knows all about Jassara Nasara. This guy, he's got like a 10th degree black belt on Jassara Nasara because he's in communications with the guy upstairs on a daily basis, and I believe it. So the number that the buyout will happen in, according to the lion, who's out of the cage, is going to be much bigger than we all had imagined. And I believe, because you see, when Jimmy came out, it was, 35,000. Then it went to 37,500. Then it went to 50,000. When he got to 50,000, aha, he's starting to get the picture. Because I know it's going to be a big number too. I don't even really, listen, there's been people like David Schwartz, will talk about big numbers. And he's done it 3 times, and he's done it publicly on Twitter. I think he's been gagged since, because the little guy are not allowed to know. There was a story today that broke as well regarding the SWIFT system, which we are going to replace. And if you are getting ready to buy some digital assets, unless you're going through my broker, okay, now my broker sounds like it's an easy task to do at $10,000, because in the very near future, I understand, if I'm not mistaken, it's going to be February 1st, 2023, coming up in like a week and a day or two. You're going to have to pony up $100,000 to purchase your favorite digital assets. This gentleman here, I believe he knows what he's talking about. The fact that he's working directly with Valhall Capital, with Jim, says a lot. Hopefully one day we'll get to interview Jim. So I would like to get inside his brain and see what else he knows. So I have a way of getting stuff out of people that I'm not a genius, but I just know how to ask questions, because I'm an ask hole. I ask a lot of questions. And for some reason, people just give me the answers I'm looking for. In the meantime, why don't you tell us what it is you know, and why you know it, how you know it, and the mathematics behind it, how you arrived to these numbers, etc. And if you want to maybe do a little prayer, because you have a direct line to the Lord, so that we can clean up the pineal glands of the people out there, so that they can absorb the information. See, we don't mind putting the information out there, but if we're talking to a bunch of bad radios, that sucks. You know what I mean? How you doing, brother? Welcome to the show.
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for the call back. There's information here that is going to change people. I mean, you know, there is something that has happened. And again, we're not talking about something that is happening. And I want to bring clarity to that. This has already happened. This plan was created before creation. Numbers existed before creation, because creation is held together by numbers. And what we're building the foundation on, and we talked about that in the last video, is the understanding that it's all math. It's all math. There's no opinion in it at all. And that's what they understand now. You know, Brad Garlinghouse, David Schwartz, everybody involved understands it's math.
Right.
And if what I hope we have time to do tonight is to understand the direction necessary to arrive at the price for XRP. Now, that's what I do. I drill down, and he guides me through the process. This is 8th grade math. It's complicated as it gets. And for the most part, all we're doing is using addition to determine what the total amount of money is. You know, everybody talks about all the money, and it's based upon assumptions. Nasara, Jasara, where we were, increased trading hours because of the quantum element. We talked about, you know, what it means to go quantum. But when you boil all this down to a very, very simple math equation, I'm gonna give it to you right now.
Sure, please.
It's all the money divided by all the coins that have been minted, and that equals a product, which is the price for XRP as the world reserve currency, or what I like to call the quantum liquidity access token. Because that's...
So let's be specific. What you're saying is you're talking specifically about XRP. We're not talking about any other tokens here, right?
No other token.
We're talking about XRP. So you're talking that the tokens that were minted, which is 100 billion total, which is the reason why for the buyback, there's some burning that goes on that I don't know exactly how that whole process works. I don't think anybody does. I'm sure Schwartz and Garlinghouse and a few other insiders know exactly how all that works. However, what you're saying is if we're moving 50 quadrillion in the new world, and you think it's probably going to be much bigger than that, and you might be right. That's the reason why I always say It's a conservative number. I know there's a lot of people out there that are going to go crazy and write all kinds of crazy comments. Knock yourself out. For all I
Well,
care.
and I'll qualify that comment for you,
Please.
Mel.
Please,
This all operates under base 10 math.
please tell me.
Base 10 is the universal mathematic language for creation. 10 to the first power, 10 to the second, third, fourth, fifth, etc. Okay. I've dropped breadcrumbs for almost a year showing these various elements.
Mhm.
Okay. The base 10 math has laws to it, laws of vibration, laws of distribution, laws of exact perfect proportion. That's why everything is the way it is.
Mhm.
There's nothing outside of base 10 that allows everything to be. So if we weren't operating in base 10, it would make sense that the value for XRP could be arbitrary. Someone could pick a number out of their hat. But the first part of the equation is you have to assume and come to a value for all the money. And it has to be base 10 valued. And there are laws where base 10 at its highest value is determined. Okay. So 50 quadrillion dollars would apply to 50 billion XRP. Well, we know that there's 100 billion, and we won't count the burn rate and everything else. And I'd like to talk about that in a few minutes.
Sure.
So we start with all the money being 100 quadrillion dollars. So now it's basic math. 100 quadrillion divided by 100 billion equals 1 million. It doesn't get any more complicated than that.
Is that what they needed at? They needed at $1 million to do world commerce in this new Jassara world that is coming, or is that going to be the buyout, or they're going to offer us 25% of that million and we get 250,000, or they're going to offer us 20% and we get 200,000? How's that all going to work?
Jassara plays into the calculation of all the money, because this was money that was not being identified, correct?
Totally.
The gold that was in the tunnels, the priceless artifacts, everything. All of that money is coming out of the dark into the light and will now be distributed so it can go into the economy. Think of it as an infusion of capital. Okay. Sure. If tomorrow IRS announced, oh, by the way, there isn't any tax implication on retirement money. Mm-hmm. There's no penalties. There's nothing. $56 trillion would come into the economy overnight. The Dow would go to 100,000. The S&P would open at 12,500 overnight. Okay, so these are things that are picked up in the assumptions to determine the value. Okay, so that was the first part of the equation. Mm. We then divide, we get to $1 million. Now, what is the $1 million? The $1 million represents the value, the product, right? What was produced. That becomes a given. It becomes an absolute number. It's not arbitrary. It's not opinion. And it was important in the calculation to understand what direction you were trying to determine the price for XRP. You don't start with XRP and then try to get to all the money. You have to start with all the money and work down and allow the price of XRP to be the product or the result. So it's fixed.
Yeah.
Okay. Using base 10 gives us the flexibility in the value for all the money to grow with the economy until 2030. So the valuation process is based upon 2020, which is 10 years to 2030. Okay. We're 3 years into the process. So there's only 7 years left. So when you look at this $1 million, that's our future value. So if it's a future value, we need to discount it back to a present value for now, today. Okay.
And what is that value?
Well, let me bring it forward.
Sure.
Jimmy Valley has already done that, what we call the XRPV calculation, XRPV10, which uses a net present value of $1 million discounted at a 10% interest rate over 10% 10-year term. Well, at that point, it was $385,543. Okay, we're not getting $1 million because it's out into the future, but we know what it is. We can quantify it, so we get the discounted present value of that. Well, that was the value in 2020. We're in 2023. So here's where the mind melt and the comes from. As of December 31st, 2022, that value was $513,158, to be exact.
How much of that do you think we'll get that's realistic?
All of it.
That comes to us. And so if you have a 10,000 XRP, you take 10,000 times $513,000.
Exactly. Now, during this time on the valuation committee, I was able, through my, time with the Lord, he pointed out 2 additional models for me to include. And those are base 10 based models. So we have 513 under the XRP V10. The second model I've already calculated at $562,500. It's a perfect math number in base 10. My model 3 has that at $573,232 as of December 31st, 2022. So every month that we move forward, we're moving towards 2030, which is $1 million.
But they're going to need it way, way before 2030, correct? Because they're already
exactly. Exactly. That's why the buyout was supposed to happen in 2021. Now, had it happened in 2021, we didn't even have the awareness of the knowledge of these values. We were, 37,500, 50,000, et cetera. But this time has been really great because the revelation in its fullness has happened.
Now, have you talked about these numbers directly with Jim Valley?
Yes.
And what is he saying?
Share it with the world.
Share it with the world.
We can't wait. Go ahead, reveal it. So what's happening tonight, which is going to be however many days, after this gets presented. So at 11:59 and 59 seconds on January 22nd, 2023, I will reveal my full report. And it will have every assumption listed. It will have everything that was considered. It will break down the math, just as we did just now. But here's the point. We know what that value is. It's absolute. And my understanding is they know it too.
Oh, the people upstairs know to the penny exactly. If you throw them a date, they'll go into some kind of program, and they'll tell you exactly, precisely to the penny what the XRP needs to be. Not because you want it there or because I want it there, is because they need it there to do world commerce.
Right. They have to have all the coins. Okay. And
right.
That kind of goes back to what we talked about in the last interview. No one gets to hold on to what they're not supposed to hold on to, because we're not the designated custodians for the coin.
Got you.
And part of the assumption and what they talked about, when I say they, G7, Brad, etc., was all of the coins would come back for governance. That was a requirement, because we couldn't have anybody out there holding a sizable amount of XRP that could fluctuate the price of the market. Well, under this assumption, there is no market. XRP isn't a tradable token, liquidity token, once the buyback happens. It was never intended to be a saleable commodity. So it's really cool that we had this opportunity to acquire it and share with the people that we cared about the most what was going on. Now, did we have the full picture at that time? No. Do they have the full picture? No. But this is a great addition to our foundation that lets everybody understand we're on level playing ground. And he revealed revelation on Brad's comment about wanting a level playing field. And that was the fact that Jasara needed to be in the computation. It needed to be part of. And that's why in the last interview, I talked about the fact that, the buyout was supposed to be first and then Nasara. Well, that's not a level playing field.
Well, how
Nasara
many
needed to have.
times, how many times have we heard Donald Trump? We need a monetary level playing field.
Absolutely.
He said it maybe a couple of hundred times when he was in office,
Mhm.
maybe 300 times, 400 times. How many
Yeah.
times has he said it? How many times does he need to say it? My question to you is this. I would love to have, to be quite honest with you and Jim Valley at the same time coming to the table in a meeting such like this when he's ready, no pressure, because what I'm hearing you say, when it's a definite 100 trillion% a go, this is going to be fast and furious on steroids times 1,000.
I imagine that he's already walked through that entire process from that go moment. So, that's what great people do. You talk about football players, basketball players, what do? They see themselves making the shot. They see themselves in that process before it even begins. So it will be quick.
Listen, I'm a numbers guy. I'm a numbers guy. I've been in business since I was 11 years old with my parents. I had to learn on the job training real fast. And I played with the numbers. And I don't have a direct source to God, but I have a bunch of people who they do, like yourself. And I got a few other ones as well. And they're all coming to see the guy with the big chair. Don't know why. Have no clue why. But they're all being sent here. And I played with the numbers. I'm pretty good with numbers. I take after my uncle, I think, my Uncle Phil. Incredible businessman, made a lot of money. He would actually literally do his own accounting. And then he would say to his accountant, this is what you're going to present. He says, I never let my accountant know my business. And I got to tell you, it doesn't matter how many times you do the math, you keep coming back with the same number over and over, because it's really basic stuff. You start to calculate 1.8 billion, 1.9 billion unbanked. Okay, they're going to get conservatively a, X amount of UBI, bingo, times 1.9 billion. You come up with a number and you start to calculate all of the ZIMs and the dinars and everything that's got to travel through the XRP, which is the one that scalable to 3.5 trillion transactions per second. And the numbers are staggering.
Well, listen to this. This is an interesting component. If we take the entire retail holders, they're somewhere between 500 million and 2 billion. And we'll just use an example of 2 billion. If we take 2 billion times this $500,000 number, it equates to less than 0.5% of the total value of the 100 quadrillion coins.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, the 100 billion coins.
Right.
With a valuation of 100 quadrillion. Less than 0.5%.
Wow.
There's nothing to be worried about. No one needs to be concerned that there isn't enough money.
There's plenty for everybody.
They have already put so much money into the system, one followed by 45 zeros. And I know you've been told that too, that we're talking about a little tiny piece about the size of a mustard seed.
Yeah.
And that's going to move mountains for humanity. No.
Yeah.
Mountains are going to be moved because of that. And that's what they know. That's what they've been told. So they're not in a position to want to negotiate the price for XRP. Whatever the price is, it is, because God says so.
Let me ask you a question. You're not crazy, are you?
Absolutely not.
Do you take any medication?
No.
No.
Outside of maybe a little something for blood pressure? No.
Okay, I just want to make sure, I got to tell you, one of the things that, because there's a lot of people coming into the space, and people just love to hear themselves talk, but they don't realize if they were to write down what they're about to blurb out and read it to themselves maybe 2 or 3 times, they realize if I say this, I'm going to sound ridiculous. I got people in my room, like brand new people, God bless them. You know what I mean, I have a lot, you have to have a lot of patience to do what it is that we do. I had somebody say, Mel, I understand that Ripple is partners with BlackRock and Vanguard and Bill Gates. The answer to that is yes. But there's also another answer to that. This is a battle of the titans. This is the biggest transfer of wealth in the history of the world. Donald Trump, with that 17th movement, is kicking their butt in ways that you can't even imagine. Someday the story is going to be told. The XRP Ripple story, in my opinion, the XLM story, the XDC story, the ISO story, there'll be 24 tokens, according to you, that are left standing when it's all said and done. It's going to be the greatest story ever told, tied into that 17th letter in the alphabet.
Evil's already been removed.
Yeah. And if I could give you new people out there any advice, don't ask a lot of questions. Don't make a lot of dumb comments. The best thing you do, right down below, you come inside our Telegram group, learn. Go to QFS1776.com. Watch as many videos as you can. There's the value educational process that we have on our website is priceless. I could turn it into a membership, and people would be lined up from here to China, ready to give me, $8 a month. I'm not here to bleed you. I'm here to give you the information for free. My money comes from other ways. I'm doing the right thing happens. I do the wrong thing, it's all energy. It's what you put out. Okay, don't ask dumb questions. Don't send me an email saying, Mel, do you think XRP is going to go up tonight at midnight? It's ridiculous, don't you think? I mean, I've had literally people send me emails that are that dumb. And I love humanity. I want to see you guys survive, but please, by all means, you have an opportunity, second to none, the best opportunity. This opportunity is never going to come again. QFS 1776 is not maybe, not perhaps, 100 trillion%, the holy grail. If you watch the videos, you know nothing about digital assets. I don't care who you are. And you watch those videos top to bottom, by the time you get down to the bottom, you're like a 3rd degree green belt in digital assets. You come into our room and you start to listen to our administrators who are a lot smarter than me, like El Capo, Mirko. Okay, these guys are well-versed. You got these guys at your fingertips. Take advantage of it, but don't ask dumb questions. We don't have time for dumb questions. We got a lot of people to save. 99.9999999% of the world population still ain't here. When you hear Jim Cramer tell you it's time to invest, you're too late to the party, because XRP will be 30, 40, 50 bucks easily. Not 40 cents, not 35 cents, 40, 50 bucks easily. When they announced the Kabuki Theater lawsuit is over, you better hold on. How long do you think this is going to take, brother?
That's the question. That's the question, Mel. How long is it going to take? We were ready for it in December of 21, and we moved forward. I have my own ideas as to when. Brad Garlinghouse has been very specific. He has already identified and used keywords. He said this lawsuit will be over by April.
So what you're saying to me is the number we're looking at, XRP, 40 cents, that's Kabuki Theater. The lawsuit we know is Kabuki Theater. We all know that this is to slow down so that the Jasara and that God can put the right people in place to make stuff happen. Because the train has already left the station. You see that? See that shirt? That's a beautiful shirt. you guys should be buying it like it's going out of style because you want to wear it because you want people to tell you, hey, what is that XRP Ripple thing? I heard about that on the news. Yeah. You guys have got to decorate yourself. You got to open your mouth. You got to talk to people. We're never going back. This is going to be the biggest transfer of wealth. The old system will be burnt down to the ground. Out of the ashes will rise the phoenix. There's no doubt.
Well,
Anybody who's got Bitcoin, would you advise anybody who's got Bitcoin to parlay it over like quickly?
Well, not giving investment advice.
Yeah, without
I don't understand why someone would put their hard-earned money into an asset that is
does
unknown.
nothing.
Is unknown what its intent is.
Yeah.
Who's behind it? Well, they have an agenda, Mel. They have an agenda.
Of course.
Okay. And part of what was disclosed in the agenda was the fact that there was a time when all of a sudden that group of influencers began to describe Bitcoin as $1 million coin, $1.25 million coin, $1.3 million coin. And on that announcement, the Lord told me they know what's going on with XRP. So that was their call to let everybody know, get into XRP. They weren't trying to tell the public or the innocent person Bitcoin was going to $1 million. They were telling their closest cronies, now's the time to get out of Bitcoin and get into XRP. And if you look at the chart, that's when it went from where it was to where it is now. And of course, we know it's going to zero.
What kind of role, Dave? By the way, you guys need to follow him. He's at on Twitter, XRPLION1 altogether. XRPLION. The lion is out of the cage. Okay. He gave me the keys. He says, unleash me. I'm going to come out on your show. I want to be on camera. I'm coming out for the first time. He's got thousands of people following. Thousands. Probably we're getting ready to hit 20,000, right?
Pretty close.
Yeah. Okay. This guy is a dynamo. XLM, XDC. What kind of role do you see XLM? I mean, does God talk to you about XLM or XDC at all?
No,
I need to know.
Not at all.
But they are playing a role. They're going to play something of significance in this transference of wealth.
Yes. I mean, we know the role for XRP. XLM is the only other liquidity token. Now, it's going to provide that liquidity for a specific part of the industry or the market.
Sure.
Whereas, think about XRP, it's the pipe, like we talked about before. Everything goes through XRP, no matter what. Mm-hmm. So we can have functioning with XTC, we can have functioning with XLM, but it has to go through the pipe at the end of the day.
Okay, gotcha. So XRP buyout. We don't have a date. Obviously,
I'll give you a range
for the smoke to clear. I'll
give you a range.
Give us a range. Go ahead.
Yeah, that range is. It begins the moment Nassar is announced.
And when do you think Nassar is announced? When Trump comes back?
No, it's in process right now. Could be days away.
But why would we give this Joe Biden character, whoever he is, whether he's wearing a mask or whether he's an actor, why would we give him any credence? Right? We don't want Joe Biden to go down in history. Oh, Joe Biden is the guy that bought us, Jassara Nassara.
There'll be a revealing of the Kabuki Theater. Matter of fact, one of the gematrias that I just did, it was a post I did on the 19th of this month. It's called "What Do You See?" Not with a question mark, but with an exclamation point.
So the buyout's going to be way over 100,000. So when I was saying 100,000 to the people, I was being very conservative.
You were about 5 times too low.
So it's 5 times greater than that. That's what the buyout's going to be.
Right. Now, for the math geeks out there, that's where we begin with going from 10 to the 5th power to 10 to the 6th power. The top of 10 to the 5th is 100,000.
Yeah. Now, Jim Valley, who you're working with, when does he come out and say, yes, I do work with XRPLION, and yes, XRPLION, I told him to come on your show. Yes, he's not blowing smoke. It's bigger than people can fathom. If people out there have chicken brains. Yeah, I understand. Look, we've been beat down, enslaved, poisoned, all kinds of stuff for years. People have a hard time. They think this is just too good to be true. We're talking about the entire planet right now. There's still a window of opportunity to be able to win the lottery. The mega, what is it? The Powerball jackpot times 1,000. Somebody who has 1,000 XRP right now, that is life-changing.
Do the math.
Yeah, exactly.
Do the math.
1,000 XRP, if he's right, 500,000. It's a lot of money.
That's $500 million.
Yeah, it's a lot of money. You're all mega wealthy. But the thing is, people are going to look at money differently than the three-dimensional world where it was all about, cocaine and champagne and yachts and flying jet aircrafts, which are slow and cumbersome, and they pollute the atmosphere. And the same people who tell you you can't have a car with air conditioning or traveling at 700 miles an hour, right? Hypocrites.
Correct. Right.
That's all going to go away. Free energy technology, life extension technology, medical beds, everything's coming.
We're going from the me generation to the we revolution. Where
I believe that. I believe that we should have been there a long time ago. We'll see how it all unfolds, brother. That's a big number. I'm a big thinker, and I'm a big believer that humanity is going to survive this one. I believe that we're going to travel amongst the stars. I believe in the life extension technology. I believe, that we're going to live to be thousands of years old if you want to. On earth, on heaven as it, what is it? On earth as it is in heaven. On earth as it is in heaven. The prayer tells you it's all out there. It's all biblical. It's happening.
And the it is part is what God is.
Yeah. And I can't wrap my mind around the $500,000 XRP. But then again, David Schwartz has said on 3 occasions, and I believe he's been gagged, that it's going to go to $1 million because the boys and girls upstairs needed $1 million, because when they're moving $10 million, they want to move 10 XRP and not move a tremendous amount of XRP to move that $10 million. That
they
makes
won't
sense.
wait. They won't wait, Mel, to value at $1 million.
Yeah.
That's the value.
It'll be like that.
No, it'll be now.
Right now.
It'll be now. Yeah, exactly.
As soon as they're ready to go.
Exactly. Remember, we're just getting a discounted present value.
Yeah, exactly.
So we're going to receive what we want. They're going to get all the coins for what they need to do. Yeah. And humanity is the better for all of it.
They've been telling us in the movies what they're going to do. Elysium, they showed med beds in Elysium and other movies as well. They sell you the science fiction when it's really a science fact. They know that we have the capability. They know that we are royal genetically inclined. They know that we have the capability of we could be more advanced than some of the races that are out there. Our rightful place is out there. How many times even if you're mega wealthy and you got your 500-meter yacht, whatever, how many parties can you have? And how many islands can you go visit? And how many cultures, when you have a lifespan of 1,000 or 2,000 years, you're going to be able to visit a lot of places over and over again until it becomes boring. And people like me are going to say, hey, I'm done with this in probably, 10, 15 years. And I want my space shuttle, my space flying saucer disc that can go, beyond warp speed, 100 times the speed of light or 10,000 times the speed of light. I want to go visit some other civilizations out there. I do. I want to eat some of their intergalactic sushi. I want to see how they live. I want to know how they build their home. I want to know Do you guys have roads and bridges and waterways? Do you have rivers? Do you have lakes? Do you have oceans? Do you have mountains? Do you have trees? Space is very real. And we're going to earn our place out there. I got the perfect way to cure communism. I got the perfect magic pill. We do a big fundraiser, the biggest fundraiser the world's ever seen. And we take all these liberals who think that that's where it's at, socialism, Marxism, communism, and ship your ass over to North Korea. And after 6 months or a year, when you're begging on your knees, crying like a little bitch, wanting to come back, I'm going to leave you there for another year just to be spiteful. And I'll wipe out communism in one swoop. You have no idea what it's like to stand in the line begging the government for a loaf of bread or some clean water for 2, 3, 4 hours in the sun, in the rain, in the cold. When you do that, you'll come to your senses. You'll come to your senses very quick. We'll ship your ass out so fast. I know the American people will go into their wallets and say, you know what, Mel, let's do it. Let's do it. I'll put my sister on a first class ticket. She'll be the first one. Maybe we do need a purge. Who knows? Is that a possibility, Dave? Or am I nuts?
Well, it's already happening, Mel. That's why God has brought heaven to earth. And he made a very poignant comment when he revealed that. And that was, we have eternal revival now.
Mm-hmm.
We've had revival in the past in the early 1900s, but it didn't stick. It didn't stay. And it's because legally it couldn't stay. Now he legally has dominion over everything. And evil is being eradicated. It's been eradicated. It's completely removed in his plan so that we can move in that foundation of love and generosity for humanity. Because, as you pointed out, you do the math on these numbers and it's like you go from 0 to, $100 billion overnight.
Yeah.
Well, you can't spend all that money. It's legacy money. So what happens to it?
Right.
We lean into him and he guides us into understanding how to be great steward of that money.
Right.
And, again, like I pointed out before, everybody's going to have their time to, kind of go crazy and buy all the stuff that they think they need. And in a very short period of time, they're going to say, what am I doing? That doesn't fulfill me. I would rather go and buy houses and take care of the homeless and save the horses.
It's going to get boring.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It's going to get boring fast. Believe me. I know.
Yes.
I can already see it. All the money in the world is not going to make you happy. You know what's going to make you happy? Having relationships with people.
That's right.
And taking care of their problems. That's a lot more fulfilling than going buying a stupid jet aircraft that's still mimicking a bird. Can you imagine? I mean, we're still an extension of the Wright brothers. Come on. We're making these long lines at the airport to travel in a thing that should have been gone in the 60s.
And what's our purpose now? Our purpose is to prepare and be ready for what will be the greatest harvest of mankind.
Yeah.
And God knows it takes a lot of money to do that, to open up the wellness centers, to open up the community prayer hubs, to open up the healing centers, to love on people the way they always wanted to be loved on. But because of the system that operated before, it brought fear and greed and I got to get mine before somebody else takes it from me. That's gone. That doesn't exist anymore.
Totally.
And what happens? Everybody's happy. Everybody is taking care of everybody else because why? There's so much. We don't need it all. And then we're preparing the next generation after us and the generation after that to be great stewards of his restoration blessing. That's why this time is now. It wasn't 100 years ago. It wasn't 200 years ago. It is now. Now and into the future.
Well, brother, I tell you, I wish you would have came out of the closet a lot sooner.
It wasn't the right time, Mel.
It wasn't the right time.
It wasn't
Exactly.
the right time.
Bingo.
It wasn't the
Bingo.
right time.
You know, and I'm glad that
So
you did it on my show. I'm glad that you and I are becoming really good friends. I'm glad that you have a direct line to God. I'm glad that he recognizes my work down here. Like I said, I was an atheist. I was not a believer. I said things are so posed up.
well, there's
You
a lot of
can't
people
tell
that are
me.
going to have their Saul to Paul moment.
Yeah. You can't tell me that there's somebody in the sky that's too busy to come fix this stuff. And you know the story. I've sent you the pictures. Everybody knows the story. We did 107. I think that's going to be an epic. I mean, look, if everything works out as it's supposed to, that video should get at least 150, 200,000 hits conservatively. He said, I turned them around on the XRP, by the way, and Jasara and Nasara. You guys are going to be in for, oh man, I'm telling you, he said this is going to be like a jujitsu move. Just like that.
That's why it's gonna be fast.
Yeah.
And the moment Nasara gets released, the negotiation begins on XRP.
And he said, if I'm not mistaken, if I remember correctly, I talked to a lot of people today these days, and there's a lot to remember. The next jujitsu move is right around the corner. And this should be the final. This has been dress rehearsal, getting everybody prepared. And now, voila, the final crescendo.
Amen.
Brother, I'm going to hold you over as I always do, because I always like to talk to my guests after the show as well and before the show. And you guys are the most important part of this equation. The digital soldier. If you guys don't move the information forward, we are DOA, dead on arrival. If you think you don't have a formidable enemy, you guys are the reason why we win or lose this war. Now do your job. Thank you.
God bless everyone.